Hey guys, welcome back for another broadcast of The Weekly. I think this is weekly number 9. We're getting along there. First article, let's jump right into it. This is from The Direct. Star Wars next Disney Plus show gets release date. Report. Let's read a little bit. According to a new report, Star Wars' new upcoming Disney Plus series, The Acolyte, finally has its release date set in stone. The Acolyte will take Star Wars fans further back in Star Wars timeline than any project to date, serving as the first full live-action story set in the famed High Republic era from the Yellow brand. It will also be the first show depicted from the perspective of the villainous Sith, as star Daphne Keane shared how it will put forth an explanation of how the Sith infiltrated the Jedi more than a century before the Avengers fans know now. Interesting. I think that's going to be pretty cool. I've heard a lot of mixed things about The Acolyte. I want to say it's either the writer or the director that's associated with it. She's been pretty, I want to say, polarizing recently within the Disney world and stuff like that. I don't think people are really fans of her. I want to see what they do with The Acolyte. I think the idea is very interesting. I like that they're actually setting it before the Star Wars cinematic universe, I should say, and they're actually going to show a lot of origins, probably of the Sith and things like that. I think that's a pretty cool idea. I'm going to look a little more into the cast with this show, but to be honest, I've actually been pondering lately on what Star Wars, Lucasfilm, and Disney was going to do because they've been pretty consistent with their content. I believe their last series on Disney Plus was Ahsoka, and I think that probably ended, I want to say, maybe 2 to 3 months ago. I'm not 100% sure on that. Don't quote me there. But they are pretty consistent. They had a couple Marvel shows come out. But yeah, I've heard a lot about The Acolyte, and I've heard a lot about The Acolyte for a couple years now. It's been in development for a few years. Like I said, most things I've heard have been negative, but that's just been online. I don't know what the product's going to be when it actually drops, but it's pretty interesting. If I had Disney Plus, I'd probably check it out. I know a couple people that are going to check it out, and let's see where it goes. I think the story is going to be interesting, and I think they can actually do a lot with it. Let's see if they take this opportunity to get the Star Wars series shows back on track, or if they fumble the ball once again. Let's move on to the next article. And before I do move on, let me remind you guys, as I usually do, that article and all these articles are going to have links in the description. If you do want to read them through all the way, you can. There's a lot more information in these articles that I do not cover. I just kind of give you the surface level, and then I move on to the next thing. But yeah, next article, guys. Deadpool and Wolverine will be missing 3 main characters from the first 2 movies. The most recent trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine confirmed that on top of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, plenty of familiar characters will return for Ryan Reynolds' next adventure as the Merc with the Mouth. However, some former main characters will be missing. Let's take a look at this. So right here, they're showing me Cable, played by Josh Brolin, if no one's aware of that. In a recent interview with comicbook.com about Dune 2, Josh Brolin admitted he will likely be missing from Deadpool 3 as the time-traveling Cable. This isn't so surprising to me, Cable. He was a big player in Deadpool 2, and Josh Brolin really depicted him very well. Good actor. I thought Cable was really good. He was really important to the second film. For him to be in this third film, I don't think it's necessarily that important, but it would be cool because with his character, it does have that time-traveling aspect, and seeing as how we've seen some details about Deadpool 3 and him going into the void and meeting up with Wolverine and possibly having a mix-up with the X-Men universe, I think Cable would make sense in this movie, but I can understand why he's not in it. Let's go to the next. Let's see what we got here. Domino by Zazie Beetz. See, she was in the second one as well, and she was, once again, a big character, kind of like Cable was. She was on Deadpool's side, though. She was helping him out. Cool character. I'm not going to say she brought too much to the film. She was important to the second film, but it wasn't a character that I felt needed to continue on in the story. I honestly understand, I guess I could understand if she's not in it, and I can understand if Cable's not in it, but I could see Cable actually being more of a player in Deadpool 3 if he were to actually be in the film, which he's not. But like I said, if I were to vouch for any character, Domino or Cable, I would see Cable actually moving on to have a more important role in the third film. Let's go to the last. This one was actually very interesting to me. Weasel, played by T.J. Miller. Now, this guy, he's been in both Deadpool films, and he's been a real intricate player within the films. So I'm actually surprised that he's actually not in Deadpool 3. To me, it really seems like with that title, Deadpool and Wolverine, they're really just focusing on those two. No extra stuff. They're focusing on those two. You know, maybe towards the end they open it up a little bit for, I guess, more players to come and be involved. Like I said, I think they're really trying to do the Deadpool crossover with X-Men thing. They're really trying to break Deadpool out into that Marvel universe. But it was really interesting to me that Weasel's character is not involved. Let me read a little. T.J. Miller's Weasel was a key comedic voice in the Deadpool franchise for the first two films. Sadly, on many levels, the actor became buried in sexual assault accusations, and legal troubles starting in 2017. Since then, he has not had a notable on-screen credit to his name and was swiftly removed from other projects he was originally attached to. So that explains it. That's the answer to my question. You know, when you get involved in sexual assault cases and it's bad press, no one wants to be dealing with you, especially Disney. We just talked about this with Jonathan Majors. His case, I wouldn't say is this bad, but you know, this is not a good look, and I can understand why Marvel Disney separated. So it makes sense to me. Like I said, other than that, before I actually read into that, I would say, wow, Weasel's not in this? That's kind of strange. This guy's been in both films. He's been an intricate player in the films. Why is he not in this one? But like I said, when I see that he's got sexual assault accusations and also legal troubles, it makes sense to me. As far as I'm concerned, this guy is done with this character. I could see him being recast, possibly. But that's a real interesting article, too. I thought that was real cool because we've talked about Deadpool a couple times. You know, it's the only thing that Marvel Studios really has coming out, and I think they have a lot riding on this movie. I can't wait to see the budget for this movie. To me, it looks about 150, 200. I think Deadpool usually ranges in that area. But with inflation, I'm sure prices have gone up for everybody. I want to see what that box office is, too, as well, when it comes out. I think they really are banking on this thing a lot. That article is going to be in the description as well with the link. Next article, Marvel Studios. Next show will not be MCU canon, confirmed. Marvel Animation just confirmed whether X-Men 97 is MCU canon. Following the Marvel's live-action X-Men tease, and with Deadpool and Wolverine set to debut in July, the question fans are asking is whether X-Men 97 is part of the MCU's mutant narrative or its own standalone story. Let's read a little more. When asked on Instagram whether Marvel Animation's X-Men 97 is MCU canon, Bo DeMaio, the series head writer and executive producer, posted the following response: "We are our own thing." Whatever that means. With the MCU on the brink of integrating mutants, DeMaio's confirmation may come as a surprise to some. However, the original X-Men, the animated series, has always been separate from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and with X-Men 97 being a continuation of the show, its non-canon status makes sense. Interesting. We talked about this, guys, and this is why you see a lot of backlash from fans. You want it to be canon related. You want it to be true to the canon of the story, right? It's about the lore. It's about what people read in comic books when they grew up. They want to see a depiction of that accurately. Does it have to be 100% canon? Probably not, but I will tell you that it should be at least 90% because people are paying attention to this type of stuff. You know, if you start gender swapping people, race swapping people, all types of stuff, adding in different propaganda, things that we've seen in media lately, especially with Disney Plus and Marvel Studios. You know, people are really going to look at that and they're going to nitpick at this point because it's something that we're used to getting and it's something that people are used to seeing and understanding quickly and then speaking on. So I think really they shouldn't take pride in getting away from the canon of the MCU. They need to try to take pride in sticking to the canon and to recuperate from any damage that they've been taking over the years. I think that would be the best thing for them to do. Like I said, I've talked about X-Men 97, I think, on the weekly, maybe a couple broadcasts ago. It seems interesting. Like I said, the animation style is a little different, but like I said, you know, if it's like X-Men that I grew up watching, you're not going to be inundated with all this propaganda and all this weird woke stuff. But yeah, I think it's funny that, you know, one of the main creators is saying, hey, this is our own thing. It's like, I understand that. That makes sense. You take pride in your work. You want to be able to stamp your likeness on it. But also as well, you got to understand that you're working with material that's already been out there and it's respected by a lot of people. So you got to show respect to the material while bringing something new to the table. And there's a way to do that. Like I said, for the last couple years, Marvel has failed at that. So let's see what they can do here. I wonder what they're going to do in the future, too, with their movies. Are they going to stick to this agenda of saying we're not sticking to canon, we're doing our own thing? Because if it does, it's really revealing. Anyway, those are the articles I got for today, guys. It was kind of a slow news week, but interesting still. Some good articles out there that I wanted to cover. Keep paying attention to the weekly, the broadcast. I love doing this. I like you guys' interaction. Please like, subscribe, comment, ring the bell for notifications, and pay attention to the Popcorn Square podcast that we will be having on Mondays and Fridays every week. That's it for me. Neff here. Be safe.